Hello everyone, this is AetherNightmare, and welcome to my playthrough of Final Fantasy XIII. Now, I know this particular installment gets a lot of hate in the Final Fantasy franchise, but ironically, it is one of my very favorites. I picked this game up at a time where, I don't know, I could just relate to it personally, and as a result, it landed in my top spot for Final Fantasy games. It's not my absolute favorite, but it is up there. If I had to have a top 5, it would definitely be in there, and I've played most Final Fantasy games. So I've decided to pick up a role-playing game simply to give myself a break as well. Both mentally and physically. I ended up injuring myself in one of my prior Let's Plays. So really quick, let's go into settings. I want to have subtitles on, please, as well as potentially speaker name. Just turn all the subtitles on. All the subtitles. All of the accessibility. Battle speed is normal. That's good. I'll put it on abilities. This is something that a lot of people had a gripe about in this game, is auto battle and its prevalence. You can tell the game to auto battle, but you are able to technically turn it off. Not necessarily off, but you can make it so your command does not start out on auto battle. It starts out on abilities, so you can choose the attacks yourself. So for anybody who complained about auto battle, you can turn it off. I don't really see why it's necessary to gripe about a feature that is optional. So I don't know. From list, that's fine. Battle messages on. Brightness is good. And I'll mess with everything else once I actually boot up the game. Now this, I'm not really sure where I'm going to go with this playthrough yet. I could do a 100% playthrough, not necessarily a platinum trophy playthrough, simply because there is one final trophy in the game for obtaining every single weapon and item in the game, and good lord, it's not as easy as it sounds. In fact, it's actually rather easy, but it is repetitive. I will wind up going around in a circle in the same part of the overworld for potentially 500 hours, and I don't want to do that. So I can do things like missions, 5-star, all the missions, that kind of thing, get every bit of the story segments, but I'm probably not going to go for 100% platinum simply because, yeah, that trophy is based on RNG drop rates, and some people can do it in under 100 hours if they get lucky. I am not one of those people who ever gets lucky. And yeah, I know how. I can tell you how, I can show you how, but I'm probably not going to do it to myself because no thanks. So let's boot up a new game. Depending on the copyright, this may also be a Twitch exclusive playthrough. We'll have to see.
The 13 days after we awoke were the beginning of the end.
Serious?
Be quiet.
Best of luck. She did it! Hands high!
So yes, meet our main character, Lightning. Final Fantasy XIII definitely has one of the stronger openings in the franchise.
So far, so good. They all want to fight.
Good for them. Give me that.
What the?
I should probably point out this is a military vessel. She didn't just grab that out of nowhere.
Run! I've been away!
And already I love the dynamic between the characters. I don't think there's a character in this that I dislike. They just all have great group chemistry. Even when they don't get along.
Oh! Hey! Let's be rational now. Oh! It's sending the big guns now. What do we do?
Watch and learn.
That's technically not a functional way to have a saw. That wouldn't physically work, but let's go with it because it looks cool. Okay, so active time battle. This is the battle mechanics for Final Fantasy XIII. I'm going to view the tutorials simply because it makes it easier to explain them. I know how to play the game, but I'm going to go through them anyway, just for people who don't. Time flows continuously throughout battle. Watch as your ATB gauge slowly changes. So you see that blue bar filling up? Characters perform actions by expending charged ATB gauge segments. The actions which they perform depend on the commands you select. You can input entire strings of commands, then unleash them all at once. Select Auto Battle to queue up a set of commands tailored to your situation. Select abilities to specifically individual commands as you see fit. Specify individual commands. Dyslexia, woo. A description of each command will be displayed at the top of the screen. For now, try selecting the Auto Battle command. I don't need to do that, I know how to fight, thanks. Move the cursor to Auto Battle and press X to select it. And I guess I have to. 2 attacks have just been placed in your command queue. As you learn new abilities, you will use commands other than attack. Once we get them. We aren't going to for probably an hour and a half. Once you learn abilities, you will do commands other than attack. It will also become possible to create longer strings of commands. Next, you will need to choose the target of your attacks. When fighting multiple enemies, select your target. Use the directional pad and then press X to confirm it. You only face one enemy this time, so the choice is simple. Press X to confirm your target and you will execute your 2 attack commands immediately. Once you have finished your actions, enter more commands and continue fighting until you have defeated the enemy. Note that you will only be able to control the actions of Lightning. Sazh will fight on his own, supporting her as he deems best. Good luck from here on out. The fight is up to you. So the other character is on auto, similar to games like Persona 3 and 4. All of your other party members function based on their own AI settings. You do not have control over them. Just attack for now. We are good. I should probably also point out that this is the PS3 version of the game. It is also available on Xbox 360 and PC. This is just the version I originally had.
Not so tough now, huh? Hey, that wasn't like a challenge now, all right? Hey! Time to go! I'm coming!
Jump!
And she sticks the landing! Gosh, she is so adorable.
This thing won't give up.
Saz's little mini chocobo. She doesn't have a name yet, though she does get a name later, though I fear saying it simply because it's a spoiler. And here comes the AoE. Not too bad. We do have potions if we ever get too out of control. Now you see how ability has a teeny little arrow on it? If you press right, you can repeat your previous actions. You will also be healed after each and every battle. So, item management is not really a thing you need to worry about in this game. I might need to heal after this one, we'll see. No, we're good. We're good. Oh yeah, this game is really pretty. It's even prettier when you're able to see it in 1080p, which unfortunately I'm stuck at 720 just because PS3 encoding.
Oh goodness. Woo. We did it. Oh, hey. Aren't you supposed to protect civilians, soldier? I mean, you are Sanctum, aren't you? What are you doing trying to stop the purge? Why don't you tell me that?
I was a soldier.
Hey, where do you think you're going? Man. Chocobo, we just can't catch a break, can we? Yeah, that's a good question. Oh well.
How does she fly?
Oh, well. I'm getting too old for this.
Okay, camera control, yes. It actually lets you play around with it, which is cool. Let me see. Yeah, I might actually invert the y-axis. So, maybe. I don't know, it's not that big of a deal. I can always mess with it later, I suppose. So, the main reason I mentioned which console it is on, because there is a slightly significant difference between the graphics of various versions of this game. Originally, the PS3 version was the definitive version to play. It could play the game running at a smooth 720p and the cutscenes at a full 1080p. It also looked gorgeous in 1080p. The PC version does this as well, though there are a couple of mechanical glitches throughout, and you do need a pretty beefy PC in order to play this game. The Xbox 360 version was probably the weakest version when it first came out because it had a lot of screen tearing and frame rate issues. You could play the game just fine, and it was also split across 4 discs because this game is huge, but it did have a lot of graphical downscaling and was stuck somewhere between 500 and 600p. However, if you play this game on an Xbox One X, then you can upscale the 360 version, at apparently no additional cost, to 4K, now making the Xbox edition the definitive edition. Alas, I do not have an Xbox. Never have. So, we're stuck with the PS3 version. So, the data log. You possess an advanced digital journal known as a data log that autonomously streams information deemed important. This is your journal. Whenever the data records a new story entry, a notice will appear in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. To pursue entries, press triangle to open the main menu and then select data log. Now, a decent chunk of this game is told through the data log. So, I may be reading it from time to time, or I may be divulging some of the story secrets during my playthrough, because there is a lot of stuff that this game does not tell you directly. They had to cut it down a lot. A lot of it was also told in story segments such as physical light novels. Many and various enemies stalk the roads that you must travel. Upon entering an enemy's detection radius, the minimap in the upper right-hand corner of the screen will flash a warning. Come into contact with any enemy will initiate a battle. So there's no random encounters, enemies are always on the field. Okay, they're standing pretty close together. I should have executed a blitz instead. I'll show that off the next chance I get. So when you finish a battle, you also get a battle rating, and the amount of stars you get also determines the prizes you win. So since I got 5 stars, I got a Phoenix down. You don't really need to worry about that too much right now. You really only need to worry about it after like chapter 11 or so. Okay, so they're getting close together. For 2 command slots, I can execute a blitz attack that can hit them both if they're close enough together. They weren't that time, so it was a bad example. But just keep that in mind. If you're going against hordes of enemies, you can do AoE attacks instead. This will later apply to spells as well. I'm not ditching you, Sazh, you're just slow. You can avoid enemy battles, but I want to fight them just in case. If they get to be too much, I will start to edit them out. Oh, nope. I can never quite determine when you're gonna stay together. There we go. Got them both. Most of the item drops in this game are also RNG, and that is a big contention point for a lot of people, but as I said, it's really not a matter of issue until post-game. And immediately, you're starting to see people's biggest problem with this game. Final Fantasy XIII The Hallway. Who would? Sazh, who would? And these are item chests. Not only are they round and adorable, but you can also hear them. They give out a slight ringing tone.
Not wanting to get purged, I get. But taking on trained soldiers?
Better to die than get sent to Pulse. It's hell with the brimstone.
Yeah, well, hell's not sounding too bad. Because this place ain't exactly paradise.
Domesticated peacekeepers. Nothing to worry about.
Well, maybe not for a soldier girl, but I'm trying to say, hey!
Domesticated peacekeepers, aka monsters we've conditioned to fight for us. Or rather, soldiers have conditioned to fight for them. We don't get monsters until the next game. But that's why they look so mechanical. And see that orange bar that just went off? That is stagger. We have a stagger gauge on every enemy. You can see it in the upper right-hand corner where it says 101 versus 103. If you stagger an enemy, you will deal way more damage. The higher that stagger gauge, and it will go up even after an enemy is staggered, the more damage you're going to do to it. So it's always a good idea to try and stagger a powerful enemy and then do damage. Which is something you don't have a whole lot of control of yet, because we are in the early phases of the game. And we don't have access to those abilities yet, and we probably won't for another hour. And if there is a branching path, take note, it probably has items.
It must be real nice from up there.
Yep, new one. Air Patrol. He's a little bit more powerful, but he really doesn't do a whole awful lot yet. Again, most of this first hour is going to be nothing but tutorial. And it drags on a little bit too long, but I don't think it's as bad as everybody makes it out to be. I mean, it could be worse. It could be Kingdom Hearts 2's prologue. Now that went on way too long. As much as I love that game, sometimes prologues are a little too long. And let's go around this way because it has the treasure. Iron Bangle. So we can go in, press triangle for your menu, and equip. I want that on Lightning. Now, another point I need to mention about this battle system, because your other character is on auto, if your main character that you are controlling dies, it's a party wipe. So if you die, everybody's out. So always make sure that your leader, has the best equipment. Right up here you can get a pretty decent view too. There's nothing but a lake under us right now, so this city is built above a lake. Sort of like the one city in Final Fantasy X, except it didn't sink. It's abandoned. Nobody lives here. Stuff going on down there. Oof. And these are all civilians, by the way. Every single person here getting massacred are civilians. Keep that in mind. And they all came in on trains like us. The army came in here on trains and the civilians came in here on trains. Nobody lives in this city sector anymore, and they haven't for... Oh, what time frame was it? Like a couple hundred years? Keep that in mind.
Preemptive strike.
Rebels! So much for the element of surprise.
I don't need surprise. I have knife. Alright, this tutorial explains the use of items. Whenever your HP begins to run low in combat, you can heal yourself using items to avoid being knocked out. Select the items command to open your party inventory. It looks like you have some potions, which restore HP when consumed. The number next to your item's name tells you how many items of that type you have left. Also, the Phoenix Down only works on other party members, not yourself. Keep that in mind. Move the cursor to the name of the item you wish to use, potion, and then press X. And potions will affect all allies, so you don't have to choose individual ones, it'll hit the whole party. Since a single potion heals your entire battle team, you do not need to specify a target. Using items is a free action, so you will recover HP immediately without expending any charge segments of your ATB gauge. So it doesn't cost any of your built-up gauge to use, so time it wisely. When you find yourself in a pinch, don't hesitate to use a potion. Remember, even if your allies are still standing, it's game over if the enemy manages to KO Lightning, or whoever's in the front. We'll be able to switch that later. You can also do what I just did there, and if you press triangle, even if you have other abilities selected, you will cut off where the ATB gauge is currently at and execute whatever you have lined up at that point. So if you need to really quickly knock out a target, or you see it only has like one shot left, you can do that. Ah! So much for that way.
Do we turn back?
There's no time.
Then what do you suggest we do?
Quiet.
across. Right there. Right?
Looks that way.
All right, you leave this to me.
Well, so much for this way. Time to go the other way. Ah, watch the bullets. They can't actually hit you. Don't have to watch the bullets.
This way. Come on.
Didn't think that would hit, but it did. And getting a little low. I probably should have been just using regular attack, but hey. Some people don't like that you heal after every battle either. I personally don't mind it because I feel like it adds another depth to strategy. Since you can't just grind indefinitely. To further that point, there's going to be a level cap. And if I'm getting items right now, don't worry about it. It's just random junk. You can use those to save.
Seems to be in working order.
I know we're kind of bypassing a lot of stuff. I gotta remember to slow down. But I've already played through this game like 3 times already, so being super familiar with it means I might speed through it.
This is not our lucky day.
Deportees, are we? Weapons down. I'd hate for this to turn ugly.
Turn ugly?
He wants to kill us without a fight.
Time's up!
And a small mini-boss fight. The attack chain. To initiate an attack chain, first select Auto Battle or Attack from the abilities menu and choose the Psycom Marauder as your target. See the bar displayed beneath your target's name? That's known as the chain gauge. Keep an eye on the chain gauge as you strike. See, I kind of forgot if it was going to give these tutorials, so I gave them myself earlier. When you attack an enemy, its chain gauge fills. Hit home and the percentage beneath increases. This percentage is called the chain bonus. The more times you hit an enemy, the more damage it will take from the subsequent attacks. Continue pummeling the Psycom Marauder, boosting your chain bonus until the chain gauge is full. Except I'm actually going to take out the Enforcers first. Because it's just one less thing attacking me. Oh, they know magic. Or he knows magic. That's probably why he's a Marauder. Can't really say he knows magic. It's more like artificially created magic, because there is a very specific requirement to being able to use magic in this game, and we'll get to that. Let's just say you have to be deliberately chosen. And he's charging up, so that's... Once the chain gauge is full, one further blow will stagger your foe. A staggered enemy takes great damage when attacked. Chaining attacks to stagger powerful adversaries is essential to defeating them. Be aware, however, that an enemy's chain gauge begins to drain the moment it is staggered. Once the gauge is empty, the enemy will no longer be staggered. So we have a limited amount of time to deal this damage, and then we gotta start all over. Well, re-staggering, not the whole battle. Phoenix down and credit chip. Credit chip is money. Because we don't earn regular money, we have to sell stuff for money.
So, soldier. What's your angle?
Yeah, why are you fighting other soldiers, Lightning? Wanna share with the class what's going on?
Classified military info? Huh? What's the matter? You quit, didn't you? If you think I'm gonna go out there and just tell everybody your secrets?
My angle. I'm after the Foul Sea. Still happy you tagged along.
Didn't have a choice.